Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, I have a treat for you. We have the president of McAlvain with us today to help share their origin story. And 45 years in business, I have Torry McAlvain Jr. with us. I'm going to bring him on the stage. Hey, Torry.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Hey, I'm terrific. Hey, thanks for carving out a little time with us today. Thanks for all the community partnerships that you and your team put together. And then, I don't know if you know this, but McAlvain has been a member of the chamber for 4 decades.
Yeah.
Aligns well with your 45th anniversary.
Totally. Almost from the get-go.
Yeah. So Torry, you've worked your way up the corporate ladder with the family-owned business. I'm excited to hear kind of that corporate ladder that you've climbed and kind of some of the different positions that you've held. So let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background and history of work that led to the role you're in now.
Sure. So my name is Torry Jr. So I'm a third generation McAlvain at McAlvain Companies. I'm married to my wife, Jillian, for 12 years, and we got 3 kids and 1 more on the way. So wow. Let's start there because that's where it all starts with. So luckily for me, when I graduated from Boise State in 2012 with an accounting degree, I was actually going to go get my CPA license. And in order to do that, I had to go get my master's, and I was going to go the accounting route. And I'll never forget, my dad told me, he's like, hey, you want to get a real education, just come work for me. And that was the first time that him and I more or less kind of talked about actually like getting into the business. So once I got in and I started working, I was very fortunate to have him put a plan together for me to kind of just get me well positioned to the position I'm in today. And it took 10 years. And really what I did is I started in payroll. So I did our payroll for our entire company with my background in accounting. I did accounting for us, accounts payable, accounts receivable and whatnot, worked with the controller. Then I moved into estimating, both for the commercial side and the concrete side. Did that for a few years. And got into the project engineer, project management side. And then I got into the business development side. And then the final 2 years of that whole 10-year journey is I've more or less just worked with my dad in operations at that level. So very fortunate to have a wide variety experience of the different departments that make this company so great, and how, I'm fortunate to see how it all works together, more importantly, to make sure it runs pretty well.
So I have this vision in my head of you with the wheelbarrow full of concrete making a slab. That never happened?
Well, that happened. I did that when I was in high school. Like I did I actually, it's embarrassing to say, but I don't even care like now, but I've been a proud member of being stuck in a concrete slab pour at 3 a.m. when I was 16 years old. And my dad was like, what the heck were you guys doing letting him be out there? But yeah, I've definitely put in my time when it comes to that as well.
I love that. Those are the good stories to tell, right? We've all been there, right?
Oh yeah.
Those are the ones over a couple beers we laugh really loud about.
Yes.
Okay, for those that don't know the McAlvain story, tell me and help me share through this platform a little bit about the origin story of the company, and then maybe kind of its elevation to what it is today.
Sure. So 45 years ago, my grandfather and grandmother, Doug and Serena McAlvain, started the company. And they were both originally from California. And my grandfather was an entrepreneur at heart. I think he had 4 or 5 businesses he started. And they were just trying to find their way. I think they had 4 kids at the time when they were under 25 years old. So they're really young parents with a big household, a lot of responsibilities. They did everything from, I think, working or starting at a chicken coop. They did a burger drive-through. I think they had a furniture store as well. This was all in California. And my grandfather, I think originally they were doing a hunting trip, and they were coming from California. They're going through the Council, Idaho area. And as they're driving through there, he's like, hey, Effie, he called my grandmother Effie. And he's like, hey, Effie, I think this is where we need to settle. Like, this feels right. For whatever reason, they probably had a lot of other things going on in their life at that time. But Council, Idaho is where they wanted to be, and they settled. So they moved the family over there. My grandfather always had a background in construction, mostly by carpentry, by trade like that, building with his hands. So they were like, hey, why don't we just start, building homes? So it actually started building residential homes in Council, Idaho. And then he got to a point where he started building a name and a reputation for himself. My dad came to work with him. My uncle was already there. My grandma was there. And they started moving the operation down to Boise. So that's kind of the genesis of when it started, how it started. And then, it took a little while for my grandfather. We have such a recognizable brand now, and they've done, that's him and my grandmother, my dad, just paving the way over the years for all of us. So we're very fortunate to have a recognizable brand. But at the beginning, it's something they had to work very hard for. It's very difficult. And it took them a while. But their first big job to get the company going was actually working for Albertsons. And Sundry's warehouse, CMU block for them. So that was kind of the start of what I would call like the McAlvain success. Because once we did that work for Albertsons, got a lot of more work outside of that from both them and from Micron.
Wow, incredible. So your grandfather, grandfather moved the family to Council, Idaho, started building homes for residential homes. Do you remember the first project? Is it still around?
I don't think those homes are. Definitely not in Council. I think they built the other few in California and in Boise. I know for a fact the ones in California are, but I haven't seen the ones in Council.
Okay. And I love that the relationship with Albertsons started with the Sundry Center. People don't know that distribution center. It's huge. And it fulfills a lot of retail stores here in the Valley and beyond too. No, that's really cool. Okay, a little bit about the 45 years started with your great-grandfather or your grandfather. And you mentioned construction. What's the breadth of services that McAlvain offers today?
Yeah. So we're a full-fledged general contractor. So our services are, we're building buildings for individuals or for entities, corporations, what have you. And that market sector specifically for the general contracting, it's everything from the wastewater treatment plants. So we have, very good success with the city of Boise building for them, all the way to, mid-rises downtown that you've probably seen. So we're pretty versed in a lot of our market sectors that we're in. So general contracting, we also have self-performing capabilities. So some of the other services outside of just, being a prime general contractor, we do self-perform. So we have 311 employees, many of which are craft employees. So we have carpenters, finishers, laborers. We also have our civil portion of our self-perform. So we have operators, laborers, as well as them. We have, vast fleet of equipment. And then we have a leasing side that we call, but it's virtually all of the equipment that you might see, typical equipment you might see on a job site, forklifts, snorkel lifts, heavy yellow iron, we call it. We own a majority of that, what you would see at our job sites, and we just rent it to ourselves. So the offer, the services that we can bring to our clients is, it's pretty beneficial as it relates how we can save them money, and more importantly, how we can build a project pretty fast because we can control a lot of the trades.
Well, there's a lot of construction, fencing in Boise right now, and really everywhere, probably in the country, especially here in the Treasure Valley. I see it everywhere. I see it at the airport. What are some of the projects that you can share that you're working on currently?
Yeah, so we have a lot of contracts right now with the state of Idaho, specifically with DPW. So this one's kind of off the radar. A lot of people don't know it, but the campus that the state of Idaho purchased from HP or Hewlett Packard, I think that was about 8 years ago, give or take. We've virtually been out there for the last 8 years, just doing interior remodels. It literally hasn't stopped. And these are big, significant packages. So we just picked up another one out there. So we'll probably be out there for at least another 20 months, which is awesome. So the DPW is a huge client of ours. So we do a lot of it's called deferred maintenance work. So for Boise State University or a lot of the project or properties that they own downtown and throughout the state, they have a huge deferred maintenance. We're talking big dollars, 9 figures, to where we're just going out, and it could be anything from, just fixing this roof to fixing that boiler. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and literally 100,000 cuts. But so that's a huge contract we have. They're a great client of ours. We're doing a lot of work for ACHD, not on the infrastructure side, but they're consolidating a lot of their properties to be more consolidated for all of their equipment and whatnot. And I think they'll probably sell the other ones and whatnot. But we're building these new facilities for them. Some of them house 9 different buildings on them, and it's just warehouse, storage facilities, and all that. So they're another large client of ours. So we're doing that, and then we're doing some work. Like I said, I mentioned at the Lander Street, the city of Boise, for the wastewater treatment plant. We're doing that, and then we got a lot of miscellaneous work all over. Those are some of our higher profile projects that some yourself in the audience might know.
Well, I drive down State Street every day. I'm so excited about the new YMCA. I know you're a part of that. And
Yes.
then obviously the airport, the new car park, the new rental center that is being built right now. We're just thankful we have an Idaho company there building some of the most prolific projects here in the region. It's really cool. That's really cool.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to just piggyback up the YMCA one. That one's a very special, unique project, as you said, for a lot of different reasons. Given we're just a community-oriented based company, we have a partner in that with Anderson Construction, who's similarly yoked. Great. Matt Blandford is our president, good friend of mine. But just great people, great project to be a part of. One of those ones that we're just going to be very proud of for many years to come.
I want to touch on a couple more things before we let you go. You talked about 311 employees. You and I both know that we can't get anything done without our teams. Tell us a little bit about and share a little bit about the professionalism and expertise that your team bring to the company.
Sure. Yeah, we made a decision about 5 years ago to really elevate the company. In order to do that, it started with one thing, and that was to build a great team. And we put a lot of intentionality behind that and effort. And we've hired a lot of people. We've really built this team up. And it started for us to have these 12 attributes, what we call. And it's really identifying who the individuals are. We're a big believer over here at McAlvain that, skills can be taught, learned, experiences through the years. But the basic fundamentals of the characteristics of the individuals are what matter the most. And we stuck through and, challenged ourselves and stayed true to that. And it's paid dividends now, 5 years fast forward. Our team is tremendous. I'll be the first to say that I'm glad that I'll walk in meetings and I'm not the smartest one in that room. And that's exactly what we wanted to accomplish. The team is tremendous. And, we've got so much energy. We got so much expertise. A lot of individuals have moved here from larger markets, from Seattle or the Bay Area. So we're blessed to have their expertise come here and, join our team. We've done a great job hiring, I think, to the tune of like 15 females, even in the last 18 months, which is something I'm very proud of. We just have a great diverse mix of individuals here, and very proud of our team.
Well, and you have folks that have been part of the organization are there any that have been there since the very beginning still?
Oh yeah. We call them the OGs. So yeah, we got a Brian Burford. He's been with us for, he's 27 years. Brian Murphy's, I think, 34 years. Brett Giblu's about 34 years. Actually, I used to sweep the floors when I was in trouble and for my dad in the shop for Brett. Tammy Newman, she's still with us. She's at 30 years. So yeah, we have a handful of individuals here. We call them the OGs, and we got a next generation group that, it's coming up on around 8 to 10 years. So we got turnover is one of our goals we talk about annually with the team. And that's something always top of mind. And we've done a great job with retaining our team members here. Okay.
What type of talent are you looking for currently?
Always looking for project managers or superintendents. And when you say talent, to me as a superintendent, you got to have organizational, you got to have organization, discipline. You have to be a strong communicator and a strong leader, right? Project manager is very similar. You got to be able to speak, communicate very well. And you just, at the end of the day, you're managing people. So if you can just lead and manage people and communicate thoroughly, at the end of the day, that's really all it takes. But yeah, project managers and superintendents are always positions that we're looking for.
Okay. I'm going to put your website on the bottom of the screen, McAlvain.com, McAlvain.com. One of the marks of a great company is their community stewardship. And why don't you just take the last couple of minutes here and talk about how McAlvain through the years has been just a huge steward of the community they serve.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, it definitely started with my grandparents. In my family, I think that's just been something the way we've always thought, just because we've seen the role models and it's just something that we've always done. So my grandfather, my grandmother were very active in the community, gave back a lot over the years. My grandfather just passed away this last year, but all the way up until then, he was still very active. And that continued with my father for many years. He's very active in the community boards and all that stuff. And he did a lot of philanthropic stuff behind the scenes. So there's a lot of things that, maybe individuals or people don't really recognize what he would do. So it's just fundamental to who we are. And, fast forward with what we are, I like to encourage our team members, things that they're passionate about, we want to be passionate for and support them. So, it's not really just myself or the leadership team. It's really all of our team members, and we'll get behind all of them and whatever is important to them.
I love it. All right, let's close, Torry, with you've got 45 years as a company. What upcoming events should we know about that celebrating that milestone?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of miscellaneous things, just going out there and having fun with the 45 years and messages and stories such as this today. So this was one of them. I appreciate the time. We have our annual State of the Union coming up in actually about 3 weeks. We put together this year for 45, we put together, I think it was like a 7-minute video. We're getting a big book made for all of our company's history. So for individuals who are a little bit newer, they can get a whole plethora of the history and what we've all done. We're going to start a remodel on our office, and that's probably the big part of it is probably going to go into next year, but we're going to have little stuff this year. We might have a little fun with that. As you can see in the branding in your corner, we changed our branding around for the year. We're just having a lot of fun with it. Something to be very proud of. We're very proud of it. And, most importantly, I just love how the community just embraces McAlvain so well. I'm very appreciative for that.
Lots of examples of your team getting out in the community. I would be remiss not to mention my relationship with Brian McMartin and all that he does with Teens to Trades. I think he's the chair of that, and all the other things. I can't even name all the things that he does. And then, of course, I work directly with Maddie Harwell as well on your team. And, you can't mention everybody in a short period of time, but kudos to you and your entire team for the impact that you've made on this community over 3 generations, Torry.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You bet. All right. Hey, have a great rest of your week. Tell the team hi for me and have a great weekend.
All right. Bye.